just focus on your weaknesses? Can you start to focus on your strengths and what is right? And so that takes me to another question. You are the first Gallup certified coach in Michigan. Okay. Now, but tell me your journey to strengths. Okay.
Okay.
So, because I've had people on the show, we've had several coaches come on. Some will say, oh, my spouse led me to coach. Some will say, oh, I went to some training. Let's have your journey, and then someone
Sure.
might be able to relate to that.
Sure. So about, I guess, almost 15 years ago now, I was very fortunate to be the right guy in the right place at the right time. And I was working at a community college in Southwest Michigan, over here in Kalamazoo. And I had the opportunity to write a grant to create a program to help students discover their strengths. And the advantage that I had was that I worked at our downtown campus, which was smaller, and I had proximity to faculty, and I had these smaller class sizes that I could effectively, for lack of a better term, like incubate the program. So the ideas that I had developed and my colleagues, we could do them on a small scale and determine what students enjoyed the most, what the greatest benefits they received were, and discover, well, what didn't work so well. And it was that beginning, working with 3 developmental education courses, that we were able to scale and say, this is the part that we need to emphasize. We need to lean into the discovery aspect. It's not enough simply for people to take the assessment and to expect that there's going to be behavior change. But if we support them with coaching and additional learning, they then can start to affirm what their strengths are and then be intentional about the application. So what started out with 3 courses then turned into 6, then was integrated into 9, 12, 22, 36, 47, then 78. And then eventually we had the opportunity for a strengths-based development approach to be integrated into more than 100 courses on campus. And that's why. So when you see how did you do this in such a short period of time, is that we did so much group assessment. We had access to thousands of students. And for anybody who's thinking about doing a similar program, of course, I invite you to reach out and I will share my insights. But one of the best practices is young people in particular, they like learning about this as part of a group.
Well, thank you for that insight, because I think that's one of the things that we're going to take on at Strength Africa Limited to ensure we also start to deepen access. And so if you are on this set today and you're watching this, all Ken has been talking about, is the Gallup Strength Assessment Test. It's an assessment that enables you to be able to have a picture as to who you are. You get a report, and it enables you to be able to now, with the aided support by a coach, navigate to the extent where you can develop your discovery of your strengths and then be able to apply. So if you haven't taken the test, there's going to be a link that will be shared. Make sure you take that test. Make sure I've done mine. So, Coach Ken, tell us your top 5 strengths, okay? And let's start with that. And maybe people can just have a feel of how you use your strength to achieve such great feats. 20,000, people.
Okay. So my top 5 strengths are input, maximizer, arranger, woo, and learner. And may I ask you what your top 5 strengths are?
Oh, great. So my top 5, starting with the strategic: 1, 2, command; 3, significance; 4, deliberative; and 5, learner. Okay. So yeah, cheers. So tell me, how have you, and so when you came in touch with this reality of your strengths, can you tell us how you've used this to achieve some of the great feats, that we've also read about? So how has that helped you to achieve such
Sure,
great?
sure. Well, like you, we share that learner strength. And in the beginning, there was so much to learn. And so after taking the assessment, I just scoured the website. Back then, the interface for students was called Strengths Quest, and I read every single article that they had posted on that website. I downloaded all the reports. I talked to people who had taken the assessment at other colleges and universities in the United States and Canada, and I called them on the phone. I said, what do students love about this? And I also asked, what do they not like? What are you guys doing to maximize this resource? And so it was a very intentional and intense learning process. Like, just give me all the information. And then I used my arranger to figure out how can we create access to as many students as possible. So the arranger strength is a strength that is like your strategic, but it also incorporates these elements of adaptability and flexibility. And last, using the woo, which is an influencing strength that stands for winning others over, I effectively asked faculty, like, hey, can you help me with this? But the approach really was not like, can you help me with this? It was an identification. You have a couple of learning objectives in your communications course, as an example. So what I would offer is, like, I have this tool that could really enhance and help you get to that learning objective, and it's very positive. And so I said, I'll do all the heavy lifting. I'll bring the computers, I'll facilitate the assessment, I'll even do an interpretation of the results. All I ask from you is the time with your students. And so using the woo, I was able to recruit more people to help us get access to those students.
Phenomenal. And I think anybody listening now, you just set out a strategy, a clear strategy, which could also be deepened to, recruit people on this journey called strength. So at what point, so I almost wanted to say you used a bit of your maximizer and, input here and there. So can you just tell me, do you think you applied any of this and how did you?
Yeah, your instincts, they're spot on. What I didn't want, I can start with this. Maximizer is the strength that effectively does two things. One, it can see the strengths of other people. And secondly, we want things to be excellent. We have high standards. We want, for ourselves and for others, to perform at the highest level, for there to be quality in whatever we do. And what I didn't want is, I just didn't want another program that in nomination says, we help students to be successful. I wanted to provide something that was transformational. And because of that, I really elevated the standards for the kind of coaching and the programming that we offered to students. It was not just another thing that you were going to go to and just like use once. This was designed to be a comprehensive program. This was designed to be something that you could leverage for your entire college career. And as you know, it has applications in relationships and in the world of work.
Exactly. Whoa. So I kind of love that drift, one of the things I also heard you say, because I noticed that you deliberately, and so that takes me to issues around basement, all right, and overdrive. So for me, the command almost likened to maximizer, but yeah, slightly different, was for me, at most times I used to turn the volume very high. But with my discovery of strength, I started to tone it down, and I knew when to use, command, particularly if there was chaos or there was a need to take charge. Now, guys, if you're listening and you're wondering, are these guys speaking German or French? This is the strength discussion series. And we're not talking French or German. We're actually talking about the different types of strengths. So in the strengths profile, there are about 34, and we're just having a banter, Now, we're able to talk about our strengths with so much specificity because we've also done the assessment. We've taken ownership of it. We are able to affirm it to the point where we appreciate this strength and we're now applying it to do the best that we can. And that's what, Coach Ken has been talking about. So wouldn't you rather want to know about your strengths? And that takes me to my next question. Now, you started on this strengths journey, okay? Now, doesn't it end? So tell us how you've been using strengths, if it ends or if it doesn't end, and how you've been using it across every segment of your life. Because you mentioned relationships, you talked about the workplace, and I'm wondering, I'm sure you should be the mayor of Michigan soon because you've helped over 20,000 people, come to their own discovery. All right. So please let us in that part of your world.
Well, yeah. Well, it certainly doesn't end. And we got 10 million people here in Michigan. So there's still work to do. And I can tell you that one of the biggest benefits of understanding your strengths, anytime you are a participant in a team, so whether that team is your work team, if that team is a sports team, if that team is your family, an awareness of what your greatest area of contribution is and what you need in order to contribute it makes it easier for other people for the division of the work. They understand Ken is going to be energized and is going to be good at when he gets an opportunity to network with people. Thus the getting up early and joining you today. This to me is fun. Of course, I get to meet another person, we make a connection, we do some learning. But the other part is I also create awareness of who is on my team and how best to support them. If there are someone, you had mentioned deliberative as one of your top 5 strengths, and if I know that about you, then I can be intentional to make sure that I answer the questions you have to make sure that everything is okay. Because I know that your motivation is to make sure that we do things to keep us safe so that we don't make mistakes, so we don't waste time.
Awesome.
And when I understand that about you, then I interpret your behavior in a way where I see this is where he's trying to go. And this is how I can help.
Whoa. And, and that gives you some form of, I wouldn't call it superiority, but this conscious awareness beyond your own strengths, but of the strengths of others or whatever they are displaying, helps you reduce friction and helps us, maximize productivity. Because once you are sensitive, almost like what people talk about emotional intelligence, once you tend towards being aware of the other person's strength, you are most likely able to, be able to navigate and ensure that they don't get bruised, or you manage the sentiment or the ego, that comes through at any point in time. So tell me, in terms of emotional intelligence, how truly have you been able to use this, okay, to ensure that you balance things effectively with your teammates or wherever you work? Because I remember you say something about meeting someone in charge of the student affairs, or these are like you were deploying not just your strengths, but you also were deploying some skills. Can we have thoughts around that?
So if you will, let's talk about what really is the foundation of this. And it's everybody has these automatic patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior. You wake up, and if somebody with high strategic, you think of what is the goal or objective, and you sort through the options of how you can get there. And then you select the one that will best serve you in that moment. Anybody who wakes up with relator is thinking about someone else, like somebody that they care about that's in their circle. But again, it's automatic thoughts, automatic feelings, automatic habits. When you understand those about yourself and others in the context of emotional intelligence, it allows you to see things from someone else's perspective. So much of EQ, of emotional intelligence, is the ability to cultivate empathy so that I can understand where you're coming from. When I seek to understand you and not judge you, we create more opportunities for a more positive collaboration. If I try deeply to understand, well, why did he choose that behavior? Where are the questions coming? Why does he feel the way he does about what happened or what is going to happen? If I know that, if I get a semblance of understanding there, then I can be intentional to support you. Also, I can provide a different perspective. At a minimum, I can acknowledge that I see where you're coming from, but also, please consider this.
Now, I hear you loud and clear. I've seen you display some rare skills, okay? And that could be also that you have discovered your strength. You started to apply your strengths in line with a vision or an objective which you have or a goal. But you didn't end there. You also developed some skills. Now, is strength enough? That's my next question. Is it okay to just know your strength enough? Because I've seen you operate at a level, at a higher altitude. And I'm sure if you look at yourself 10, 15 years ago, you are speaking from a different vantage point now. You're like talking from a mountaintop.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me about that journey.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. So as we discussed, everybody has these automatic thought, feeling, and behavior patterns. You have them, you become aware of them actually when you're a child. And you see the glimpses of those talents as young as 2 years old. Over time, you have the opportunity to gather more knowledge. So sure, I was born with maximizer talent, but over time, I have taken courses in leadership development. I have practiced and honed on how you take something that is good and elevate it to greatness. So I've accumulated years of knowledge. I have input and learner. I'm always seeking information that will help us get better.
Right.
But the other thing that I've done is experience. My first coaching conversation, I didn't have the confidence that I do now because I hadn't done thousands of them. You're still thinking about what am I going to say? What's the right question? You're trying to read their nonverbals. Now, of course, after years and years of doing it, these things happen automatically. It just has a flow to it.
Right.
So I want to make sure that I've answered your question. I can summarize it a bit more concisely. You start with the automatic thought, feeling, and behaviors, the talent. But over time, you need to add knowledge and skills in order to elevate it. Because otherwise, it can just stay in the space where it's latent. If your talent is not utilized in the environments that you frequent, well, it's like a superpower that remains unlocked.
Wow. Like a superpower. So our strengths is truly are like our superpower. In fact, it's our own superpower. And so the earlier you discover your superpower, Ken, you just took me on another journey, man. And that's one thing I like about the strength discussion series. Everybody comes with a different point of view. Today we're hearing about the superpower, and I'm ignited. Like I have superpower, and I can put it to use. One of the things I love, you, and once you started to, capture that thought, you beyond the superpower, you said you're able to take people from care to becoming better. I need to know that approach. And I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to even have a glimpse of how you do that, helping people move from, being good and then, to becoming better. Just give us a glimpse of that, of that journey.
Well, there are three things that happen when people operate from their strengths. So for you, when you get an opportunity to do something that is meaningful, when you leverage that significant strength or that strategic, when you get to come up with solutions where other people do not see them, you have a different and elevated level of confidence. Your belief in your ability to be successful in the activities that require creative solutions or that require that command, that presence, for you, you're like, I got this. I can do this. And there's another thing and that confidence, of course, it contributes to elevated performance. If you believe that you're going to be successful, you behave in ways that effectively push you toward being successful.
Whoa.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So the other thing that happens is that when you experience obstacles, if you are able to leverage those natural strengths, then you are more resilient. There's a part that if you meet a roadblock, you think like, I can get past this. I've been successful in this area before. I'm going to push through. So there's a grittiness that you access when you have an opportunity. Like for me, with Learner, if there's something that I can't yet figure out, even after the second or third attempt, there's a part of me that's like, I can do this. I'll figure this out and I'll stick with it until I do. And then the last part is that we have more creativity. So when you think of your own, that strategic strength, where other people, they do not say, like, I don't know how we're going to do this. Yours is the kind of mind that sees, well, hold on a second. We may not be able to do it today, but there's another day where the weather will change and we'll have more time and these people will be able to come over, and it works in a matrix. And that's the creativity that catalyzes you to come up with a new idea, a new solution.
Ken, at some point, when you start to address me, I almost think you're a fortune teller. Like it's like you can tell what I would naturally do. And that's the beauty about this thing called strength. Because guess what? And I'm sure my teammates and everybody listening to us, that familiar with me, Taiwo Adepoju, would clearly be able to say, hey, this is Taiwo. Ken has just described Taiwo. He says, okay, when we get to the end of the road, he says, no, but really, can't we find another way? And that's the beauty of strength. Now, I love the way you captured this succinctly. You went on to talk about it boils one's confidence, because then, you will always find a solution, right? Because I know my strength. So when I get locked in a room, I'm able to, use by playing with my strength to the highest level, I'm able to find solutions, all right? If there's confusion, I'm able to exert presence. If there's a need to think through, I put deliberative at work. If we need to do more research, I activate, my learner, all right? And in terms of significance, that's why we're having a show like this, because every other person will be like, who needs to do a show around strengths? Okay, can we just leave it to Gallup or wherever? But we said, no. Can we do something big, and can we do it for Africa? And that's why we're here today. So I agree with you absolutely on how this also builds one's confidence. The second thing you talked about was that it helps us, experience an elevated level of performance. Okay, so because you know about your strength, beyond the confidence that you have, you're able also to, almost like a dancer, dance articulately or excellently well to winning the prize. And thirdly, he said, look, in the midst of, obstacles, against all odds, okay, when we are faced, head on with, or we have to collide with, crises, there is now that bit, because you know yourself, you have developed some form of resilience that endears you to move forward. And fourthly, you now went on to talk about creative abilities, because within yourself, you have your own perspective, and you can also begin to create some solutions. And I'm like, whoa, that's a ton of. No. So first, you brought me to the light about my, superpowers. Now you've also now told me, now I know I can spin the web like Spider-Man, but I'm going to give it a name. And then once you opened my chest, I became a Superman, and I'm like, whoa, it's time to fly. Ken, how do you do this? You literally just took me now from being aware to a point where now I want to apply myself even more intently. I love what you just said. Now, you moved on to talk about leadership, leading oneself. Can you tell us how this helps us Please, 1 minute. For those that are joining us, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box. It would be nice to also know what your thoughts are. I see a few people, in here, but if you are online on YouTube, you could just drop your comments, and we would allow you to be able to drop the comments even here. So please tell us what your thoughts are, and then we'll get this going. So back to you, Ken. Please punch all that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for inviting the comments, because I would love to dialogue with anybody who's on the session today. And the credit goes to the language. Part of it is we are separated by thousands of miles, thousands, and yet we have a shared understanding of what our gifts are, because we both speak that language of strengths. And the thing that how we can do it is because we understand part of the good, these natural instincts that people possess, that when they're productively applied, they help them to be successful. Now, part of it is there's something about human nature that we're a little more willing to engage in a dialogue that's focused on what's right about us. I mean, Taiwo, if given a choice, do you want to spend an hour talking about what you're not good at and how to fix it? Or do you want to spend an hour talking about what you are good at and all the different ways that you can apply it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just one thing that, feedback, almost like in Toastmasters, is the, breakfast of champions. And that's what really we just must yearn for, and I love the fact that we're speaking to someone who has not just done it, but is impacting life. Reading your resume and also your profile, actually, and also having that conversation we had, the other day, it also just took me on the fact that you beyond just taking personal responsibility, you also now realize that it's not just about you alone. And if many people can adapt that temperament or nature, we'll soon start having more and more people effect change in their own little way, in their little community. Atobatele, I don't know if you have any questions or comments. I've given you the right to give a contribution. Atobatele, Ola Raymond. I have Shoaib Ahmed. I have Ife Jesu. Please unmute and just drop in your thoughts in this conversation. And then if we have any technical, please go on the YouTube and let's have other comments. I see, Emmanuel, you're just joining us. Okay, great. So yes, please, let's have your thoughts. Shaibu, Joanne, Ifejesu, Atobatele, Emmanuel, you're just joining us. I've given you the right to, speak. Let's know what your thoughts are. So back to Ken. So tell me, with what you've been doing, can you share a bit of what your thoughts are as to the progress or the progress, yes, the progress you have experienced, or the city of Michigan has experienced, or the schools have experienced, based on this intervention of yours?
Well, I can tell you that the teams that we work with, they have elevated understanding of their areas, their greatest areas of unique contribution. So oftentimes, Taiwo, when people think of leadership, if you close your eyes and you think about what a leader looks like, there's a bit of almost a caricature of a person who has a strong voice and clear vision. To stay with the superheroes, we think of Captain America, like this guy's a leader and people will follow him. But from a strengths-based perspective, what we discover is that this creates more room for people to lead in different ways. And you may not have those gifts of influence like woo or communication or command, but you could have empathy, relator, and positivity. And your greatest opportunity, that unique contribution, will be to develop and maintain relationships amongst teams. That when we have, whether it's conflict or we have success, that you will either help us manage and get through it, or you will help us celebrate it. And we need all of it. We need all the gifts. The world creates opportunity for everybody to contribute in a way that's meaningful. But the foundation of that is you have to discover, like, what is the thing that's going to be, one, energizing and fulfilling to you, but also valuable to your team or your environment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. A whole lot of sense. Wow.
So the teams that we work with, they do have a deeper awareness of what their strengths are and how they can contribute, and their teammates, their greatest area of contribution.
Oh, wow. So someone says, nice having me here. I just joined, so I would like to pay attention. Okay, great to have you. Then we have our veteran in the house. There's some lady, Madam Merola. I've given you the rights to speak. Do you have any comments as to your strengths? We're just bringing on some thoughts. It would be nice to unmute yourself and just be part of the contribution.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Ken, and hi, Taiwo. Sorry, I just joined, so I don't really know what we're talking about yet. So maybe a little bit later, after I've heard what you guys are saying, then I can chip in a thing or two. But it's great to be here, and I look forward to listening to Ken share some insights with us.
Thank you so much.
Well, Madam Merola, you've done the test. So we've been having a banter as to strengths. Can you remember any of your strengths and how you use them uniquely to achieve? She's called the bank creator. She does personal branding in Africa. So you want to share some of the thoughts around how you've used your strength and it has helped you, to be able to effectively guide people in their branding.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I want to say thank you to Taiwo for also bringing the strengths thing to my knowledge, because I was absolutely clueless about it. And when you mentioned Clifton strength test, I was like, what is that? So, and I'm someone who's really big on knowing more about who I am. So I've done the MBI test, I've done all the other kind of tests, but this Clifton strength really helped me to be able to focus directly on what were my key strengths. And I ended up having I think communication. I remember the first one was futuristic. And it really made a lot of sense to me, because for a long time, I've always been someone that did things that were a bit ahead of the curve, and many times didn't understand people. People would be like, what are you talking about? And I'll be like, how come I'm the only one seeing this picture in my mind and nobody else gets it? So it allowed me to understand the fact that I always tend to see things ahead of everybody else. And I was now able to start to channel that into the areas of my speciality, which is personal branding and also personal mastery. And I started using most of my key strengths. And another one that I got was positivity. I always want people to feel good about themselves. I always want people to see the best in themselves. So by the time I did all the 5, I knew what my top 5 were. It really helped me to start to marry all my strengths together and use them to be able to also launch my career in a way that fits me perfectly. And by operating in my zone of genius, which is what I like to call it, I found out that I'm a lot more happier and I get better results for the things I do with less effort. So for me, I believe that everyone should have their Clifton Strengths test done, and also the extended part of it, understand themselves better, the areas in which they can flow from with the least amount of pressure or stress. And I think people will be able to see and value you more because of the fact that what you do is intrinsically valuable and no one else can do you better than you. Thank you.
Wow.
That's beautiful. That, in fact, this is being recorded. You basically just said, if anyone were wondering, why should I do this? What's in it for me? And it's, do you like being happy? And do you like to elevate your performance? If the answer is yes, then take the assessment, do the discovery. And you can hear the positivity in your voice too. So it's in there. The talent is just, it's in there. You can hear it.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Ken. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Madam Merola. And she almost literally summarized some of the things you were saying,
Yes.
pointing to those. First, you talked about our own genius area. You described it as superpowers. All those things you enunciated, particularly around the 3 or 4 key things that happens when you apply your strength, came to bear. So look, guys, if you have any questions or thoughts as to, we've been having a banter, around strengths. Let's have your thoughts. You've been given the right to unmute. All you need to do is just unmute yourself and just ask any question or give us a feedback. And is there any other person that has done the strength test here? Can you share some of your thoughts? If not, we could just take this on further. Okay, so Ken, I love the fact that we've heard from Madam Merola. Okay, now beyond just being aware and beyond being aware of the others, okay, how best also can we use this discovery of ourselves? How best can we, use this understanding of ourselves beyond being aware of ourselves? Oh, okay, sorry, Shaibu, let's pause now. Shaibu, you have a question?
Good afternoon, all.
Afternoon, Shaibu.
Am I audible enough? Sorry, I don't have a video here, but you can hear me loud and clear. I came about this thing called Strengths in a publication last year, and I followed that up by buying a book called Strengths 2.0 that has about 34 different, and I've gone through all the 34, let me say, categories of strengths or types of strength, if I'm allowed to use that. And I see that I'm a blend of everything. I'm a project manager where I work, so I work with diversity. And so I do maximize, I do communication, I do a whole lot of things. So I got to manage a whole lot of things to make sure projects are delivered on time, on budget, and at within the expected qualities. So I need all of these things to manage all expectations. So, but I'm yet to actually define which of these are my key strengths. You got to see that at the moment I'm a blend of the 34 because I have to have everything to deliver everything. So that's where I am for now. So I look forward to having insights from you, and I look forward to taking the test, and I look forward to getting certified in strength as well, because there's a whole lot about this thing and its effect on leadership. You can't separate this from leadership. Like Ken rightly said in his opening remarks, it does a whole lot of things. Like, it was when I started reading this book that I knew I had these things in me. I never knew I had them before. I am certified in emotional intelligence, no doubt about that. But then there is still this thing about strength, especially the Clifton strength, that's kind of still different from being emotionally intelligent. They are not the same thing. It's a blend of this and that, but yet they are still separate. So I want to be certified in strength so that I can up my game better than I do at the moment. And I need you all to make that happen. Thank you.
Shuabi, thank you. Thank you for your eagerness to jump in and learn this. And I want to give you something that will be insightful in your journey. And your desire to understand what truly are my key strengths. Always think of it in the context is strengths is something that we do. It is almost always a behavior, because the language itself, it's like maximizer. It's like, okay, that's a word, but what you want to think about it is, what are the key areas, the things that you love to maximize and that you're good at? And I'll give you this criteria. You know that a strength is in play if the thing that you're doing, you do it with ease, it comes to you easily, quickly, you do it with excellence, that other people give you feedback and say, that is fantastic, that is terrific performance. So ease, excellence, and lastly, enjoyment, that you derive satisfaction when you're doing that activity, that it is something that you just, you love doing it. You can do it for hours, and when you're done, you can't wait to do it again. Does that help, Shuabi?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I want to tell you, I have this triple ease,
Yeah.
excellence, and enjoyment whenever I do my things. And what you've done this afternoon is bringing this thing back to the fore. It's a reinforcement of what is innate in me. So it's now left for me to make sure I do all I can to like bring it more to the fore and make sure I see impact from its impartation. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Yeah, and Taiwo had started to ask the what's next. You know, we have the discovery. So we've taken the assessment, or we've done self-assessment, and we find out, you know, these are the things that give me the most joy, the most satisfaction. And these are the things that other people comment and say, you're really good at that. Or they ask for our help with it. You're like, can you help me do this? You're good at that. But beyond that, you know, your opportunity to develop these elements is, there's more opportunity for growth in the areas of strength than there is in the areas where we don't have a lot of that talent. And so we want to move from a space of, well, I know what they are, what my strengths are, discovery. Now I am intentional to learn and grow. Put another way, develop. So discovery, development, and then where do I want to use them? To what goals, to what ends do I point and leverage my maximizer, my arranger, or my learner? Does that make sense?
So much sense, so much sense. Thank you so much, so much.
Great.
I'm
Great.
so elated. I'm so elated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ken, for taking that home. Shaibu, you might just click the link to take the test, and then who knows, it might just be Ken that will be your guided coach, you know, taking you through a session. But before I bring in Madam Marola, Madam Marola is raising up her hands. I'll bring you in now. There's a question that is here that was taken from the YouTube. It says, how do I manage negative emotion of people who will not tell you they are not interested in what you are doing, but will only reflect such in their responses? So I don't know if that's clear enough. How do we, I'm just typing it out. How do I manage the negative emotions of people who will not tell you they are not interested in what you are doing, but will only reflect such in their responses? Ken, whilst you're thinking about that, I have two hands raised up. So Madam Marola, please quickly unmute yourself. And then Musa, once she's done, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, Madam Marola, go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Taiwo, for giving me the opportunity to ask this question. And I'm asking this question on behalf of some of the people that I have the opportunity to coach. So the question goes that after the test, find out that they are in an organization or in a company that is not allowing them to flow in their areas of strength. So that is the question. Once you've taken the test and you know that, okay, these are my key areas of strength, you are in a job or in a company that is not utilizing those areas of strength, what is the advice you would give to such people?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Madam Marola. And I love that. I wish we had more madams here in the United States. I think that we need more titles here. We need more, you know, Madam, Baroness. We gotta elevate our game here. So thank you for that. So to answer your question, it always starts with a conversation.
Hello,
there
Ken.
has to be shared understanding about what is going to provide engagement. You are likely to be engaged in your role if you have opportunities to use your greatest strengths, or if you create opportunities to use your strengths. And every team, every organization has a mission, and you have objectives. And having a conversation about the alignment. What do I offer? I lead with high input and high learner. So any opportunity to collect and disseminate helpful information, like what we're doing right now, that's where you'll get the best of me, but also that will advance your mission. If you need people to learn, I'm a teacher. That said, if those things are not in alignment, then it creates the opportunity to have a discussion on either how you can craft it or customize it a way to make it to have it be congruent, or to discuss what other opportunities are there? What opportunities would allow us to maximize what my greatest gifts are? And hopefully the opportunity is within the organization, but if it isn't, life is short. It's precious. Do you want to spend that time doing something that is not fulfilling or doesn't leverage your superpowers? Because there are other things to do.
There are other things to do. And yeah, you know, I just wanted to take all the questions. And thank you, Ken, for taking that home. Thank you, Madam Marula.
Sure.
Musa, we still have a pending question, which is somewhat related to the question that was asked by Madam Marula. But Musa, can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I really want to appreciate my mentor, Mr. Taiwo Adepoju, who exposed me to taking the strength test in 2019. And I've been able to understand that it is very key for one to understand to identify your strength, and also how to utilize the strength to your maximum capacity. So one of my key strengths that I discovered was the connector. I've been able to do it over the years, but I didn't really see it as a strength. But now I'm actually planning a bigger summit, leveraging on my network to make it happen, which Mr. Taiwo, my mentor, is also part of the resource person. So that's my own feedback. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Awesome. So
Musa, forgive me. I just want to let you know that connectedness is my favorite of all 34 strengths. And it's my favorite because the people that I have met who have this in abundance tend to be the most altruistic, generous. They always understand the connections between all people and things. And because they have that vision, they put good things into their communities. And so for that, I thank you. I believe, and I would love to, I wish we had more of it.
Thank you very much.
okay, and then let's take on Ifejesu. Ifejesu, please ask your question, and then we'll go right in to have Ken. It's almost an hour, really. It's almost an hour, Ken.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I've been enjoying the discussion so far. I don't have a question, I just have a contribution.
Oh, can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, I've done that. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. At first I said I didn't have a question, but I do have a question. My strengths are competition, empathy, relator, focus, and one other one I can't remember at the moment. But I know my top strength is competition, and I've always seen competition as a weakness instead of a strength, because maybe I've always displayed it in a negative way. I keep trying to see how it's a strength and how I can use it. And I'm grateful for this discussion. I've learned a lot so far. I've been taking notes. Thank you very much, Mr. Ken and Mr. Taiwo. That's my question.
Okay, thank you. So Ifejesu, now keep in mind, I've got 10 seconds, and I just have a name and I have the information that you've given me. But I think that it is worthwhile to just get the feedback. Like, what would tell you that your competition strength is something that is not serving you or others well? Because if you can identify if indeed there are areas where perhaps the competition strength has led you to engage with people in a way that was too intense, or that other people just couldn't handle or manage, then sir, it helps you. Okay, I can know when. Taiwo had mentioned it earlier, when to dial it down. But another form of calculus is to think, well, who needs this? Who does need or is wanting for elevated performance? Or what environments does the way that you naturally think, feel, and behave, where performance is rewarded, where could you use that to help the organization win?
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I apologize. I wish we had more time to talk about it a bit more depth.
See, Ken, this has been very interactive. I must say, the questions, the feedback has been overwhelming. I can't even say more. And I, for time, and we must respect our time, and keeping also to time, because time they allude to being money, but ultimately time must be spent well. And this has been like almost 60 minutes spent, invested. And thank you for these investments in the lives of people going across Africa. I'm sure that those are going to be watching the replay. Yes, he said, someone is saying clap. Manuela is clapping. He says, "Okay, Ken, you've done a great job, an amazing job." And I love that. What the kind of feedback we're getting is much more than the check that we can send to Ken, because this would probably have been, tens of thousands of dollars. But I must say, Ken, you truly, truly are indebted to this offering that you've given us. And I'm so excited. I don't know if the team has also contacted you about a discussion about the Teachers Reinvention Conference. We would love you to bring that same energy. Like I told you the last time, I said, Africa beckons on you. You seem to have so much light, so much positivity. You exude so much aura that, I'm like, look, we should keep this guy on. Someone says, this is the best session so far. Wow, and I love that. Every day and every time, it always gets bigger and better. So look, Ken, I must tell you, and I agree with Madam Marola, every day it gets bigger and better. Okay, so you just set another mark, and I don't know what happens. It appears that coaches, and I don't know if you did that, but some coach you go and watch previous editions, and they're like, okay, no, don't worry, I'm just going to smash this game, and But I love the fact that you are very, authentic, you are vulnerable to the extent that you'll be able to share, some of your own thoughts and how you've gone on this journey. I say thank you so much. Technical, can we have Mr. Ken's display of his details, because we need people to engage with him even outside of this platform, essentially also, to deepen this connection. Ken Barr Jr. is a licensed professional counselor, career coach, and organizational consultant. So you have his email address, and once he sees that you're serious, it's going to give you attention. I can tell you for free. And just mention strength, and if possible, you could use the keyword Taiwo. You might just get it on. So he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook, and on Instagram. And we are bringing him we're bringing him to Instagram fully. He's on LinkedIn, but we're bringing him fully to Instagram to come and play the key role. So Ken, get ready.
All right.
All right. So it's been an amazing time. You have Beacon Leadership. Africa beckons on Beacon Leadership. And just be rest assured that this is a journey, and we have just started that journey. Okay. Is there any other statements? Clement, do you have anything to say? Clement, you said you were going to say something. I want to give you the honor, to say something. So yeah.
Okay, good morning, and no, good afternoon, actually. It's good afternoon here. Yes, thank you very much for the platform. I just joined, and actually, I was redirected from your Telegram page to join.
Okay.
I said very late, and then listening to the whole conversation, I'm appreciating the value of information being shared. But I wouldn't want to quickly throw in any question or any suggestion, because I still want to know more about the whole structure, because I appreciate the education going on here on this platform, and I think it's a very good opportunity for us, the youth who are venturing into businesses or startups, to acquire this discipline even before we engage in serious businesses, so we don't find ourselves conflicting priorities. Most of us are conflicting our priorities, and it's like we want to go with a normal trend, which isn't of an entrepreneur. So I think more of these workshops or forums is very, very prudent for us to engage in and to learn and keep learning until we're dead. So thank you very much for the privilege. I'm honored to have myself on this particular platform. And I hope, like you said, to interact with the coach probably after this particular platform, so we can all have a synergized environment where people can be very comfortable and confident about their next step in business. Thank you very much, sir.
Awesome. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Ghana, Accra to be precise.
Accra, nice to have you. How do I say that? Akwaba.
Yes, Akwaba.
Okay.
I have to say something before we go, because I just had a connectedness moment. When I worked at the college, I called them strengths ambassadors. We had peer student leaders who would do coaching with other students. And one of my very best was a young lady named Faith Mavuti, who is from Zimbabwe. And I cannot wait to share this recording with her, because she also leads, she is phenomenal, high achiever. So I'm just so excited because it just came to me. It's like, it's all coming around. So if you would be good enough to share the link with me, I'm going to send that to Faith.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Ken, I must say thank you. Someone says, if there is not one strength that should be added to the list, it's you or something. What did she say? Okay. If there's one strength that should be added to the list for you, it is a charmer. Whoa. I see some the strength show is such that people connect. So please connect.
Who's wooing who? Who's wooing who now? Now it's Madame Marola. She's wooing me.
Wow. Well, awesome. Oh, wow. It's been an amazing 62 minutes. I almost don't want to leave, but, like I said, it's, we just must get this, in that point where we will always have indelible memories. I'd like to thank Coach Ken Barr Jr. I'd also like to thank all those that participated here on the Zoom platform. Madam Marola, exceptionally good. Clement Akwaba, and thank you. I'm coming for some kente in Accra. Ife Jesu, spot on. Drive your competition to the next level. Joanna, she drives a bit of our secretariat. Musa, awesome. Wishing you a great event. Taiwo, I must say, your quest for whatever you want to has brought you home, and you can't just stop now. Keep on keeping on. And to those that are watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, please, guys, get this going. Let's keep this word going on, because next time on this same channel on Thursday, we're going to be having another fantastic coach. Okay, and let's see. It's now a competition of some sort. No, that was a joke. But I can tell you, it gets bigger and better every day. Ken, I'm saying thank you. I say that in Yoruba, Esheo. I say that in French, merci beaucoup. What else? What other language I want to say? Dalu in Igbo. And then, just every of the languages, man.
Okay, Midasi in Chi.
That's Accra, Midasi. Is there anyone that has any other word to say goodbye? Because on the count of 5, we're going to be closing the room now. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.